Hello. Why do you just sit there and stare at me and wait for, I don't know, the silence to just drive me crazy?
I like to make you sit in the discomfort.
It makes me so uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable. What is happening, everybody?
Hello. Happy Sunday, everyone. Um, Everyone in the chat and following us or watching us later.
Coming live from Las Vegas.
I look at the title. What does this mean? What are we trying to pull off?
I don't know. What are you trying to pull off when you leave at 3:30 in the morning on Tuesday?
Yeah, well,
We are about to launch quite the adventure. You have your thing, I have mine. We'll get into more of that in a little bit, but I would say we both are going to be attempting to pull some things off. Wouldn't you say?
yep.
So I don't know why that was confusing for you.
I guess we are. Yeah.
You guess we are.
I guess we are.
You're going to be driving across country with Trish. Come on.
It's a
10 meetups in how many days?
10 meetups in 13 days.
Yeah. So the question is, can we pull this off? And then
I don't know.
I'm going to be trying to do some major listing and draft banking and projects here at home. So
And
can I pull it off?
helping us here and there with your with some of the editing and getting some of the videos up from the road, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
So I'm
editing.
looking at, well, not editing, but God, I know. God, Katie is not going to edit. But anyway, I see Susie's comment there. We're not losing any more weight, I promise. We are.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done. Been done. I've been done since November. I lost a total of like 72 pounds, something like that. I'm down to like just under 130 pounds. And I'm perfectly happy staying there. I'm just trying to maintain and have been able to since November now. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. I lost almost 80.
Yep.
Which is bizarre. I mean, when you think about like, man, I was just carrying that around. How was I not just like sleeping all the time and
I don't know.
aching at? It's ridiculous. Anyway,
I see
hello.
Alexis in the chat. Alexis was just here visiting with us for a couple of days. She likes to come and fly in under the radar with her little backpack and like 3 articles of clothing, and then she fills it with stuff to give away. One time she came to visit and gave us an air fryer, and I think that was in her suitcase. And then she just loves to bring stuff. She makes me laugh. And
She brought some good vintage goodies.
She did. And we ended up doing a little bit of sourcing just for fun. I don't think any of us bought a ton of stuff. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Alexis and I did not buy very much. Katie, however, bought a crap ton of stuff as per usual.
As per usual, I actually got a bunch of stuff at regular thrift stores, you guys, which I don't know if tides are turning a little bit. My theory at the moment, I mean, I could just be totally wrong, but I used to be able to find vintage, like streetwear, t-shirts, stuff like that all the time in Vegas back in the day. And back in the day, I mean like 2017 to like 2019. And then when it really hit like that fever pitch, just before and during the pandemic and after, where t-shirts were going for crazy amounts, I kind of feel like all the people jumping in were just, if they could tell it was vintage, they were just buying it no matter what. And so there was just like nothing to be found as far as vintage. And I kind of feel like that's died off. You aren't able to sell the stuff for as much. The people that were just pulling everything don't really know how to sell that kind of stuff. Whereas I do okay selling the more kind of weird, obscure, off-ball kind of things. And so now I'm finding it again. And I found over 100 t-shirts, maybe 130 t-shirts in like 4 thrift stores in this last week. So I did okay.
You did do okay. And Alexis sells only shoes.
Yeah.
So she was sourcing shoes, and she did pretty well for what she did find, actually. And brought some stuff home with her, and of course flew home Southwest. She lives in California. And yeah, I mean, I found a few things, but again, I'm being very choosy. Obviously, if you guys have been following us, you realize that I'm starting on this road trip in a short period of time, and I'm going to be coming home with over 4,000 items. I do not need inventory.
True.
So, of course, if I find good things, I grab them. And I did. I grabbed a couple of things. We filmed a couple little videos talking about that stuff. One came out this week, and one will come out in the next day or so.
Well, there's going to be a lot of content coming out over the next few weeks when you and Trish are on the road, but we are ramping things back up on our YouTube channel. And like Vicky said, we have a thrifting video that just came out a few days ago. The link is down below, and of course you can find it on our channel. You should check it out. We're playing around with some post-production stuff, doing a little outsourcing of things like editing, which is why I made the editing comment. But you should check it out. It's a work in progress. We would love for you to see it, watch it, and give us feedback. Tell us what you think, if you're enjoying the direction. I think it's pretty funny. There's some good little funny post-production nuggets in there that you should check out.
We got some
particularly
funny.
the ones making fun of Vikki.
It's true. Some fun stuff. Oh, and Jane, I'm super excited for the Chicago meetup. I'm excited for all the meetups. I don't anticipate I need to ship anything home because we're going to have the truck driving us across the country. So I am a little concerned about fitting everything in the truck. We're not going to be sourcing a heck of a lot. To be fair, we have a couple of our meetups do revolve around some thrifting, but for the most part, I don't think we're going to be doing a lot of thrifting. Our schedule is kind of a little tight. I mean, in order for us to hit 10 cities in 13 days and get to the locations at specific times, we have a pretty strict schedule. We definitely have some buffer time in there because there's going to be some shenanigans. Trish and I are going to stop and pull off and see like the largest ball of twine and all that kind of stupid crap on the way because we love that stuff.
A couple of your meetups involve thrifting. So
yes, that's what I said.
Yeah.
A couple of them, involve thrifting. The Chicago is one of them. It's right outside of Chicago, I should say. It's in Illinois, but it's not in Chicago proper. It's in Aurora, Illinois.
Are we getting a storage unit?
No. We are not getting a storage unit. So here's what we did. So some of you guys know, and you heard me talk about this. We actually have a very large home. The home that we live in is very large. We've got about 3,500 square feet, and we have a 3-car garage, and all 3 bays of the garage I use for my inventory. We use this loft area as my office. Katy uses one of the spare bedrooms for her office and another spare bedroom for her inventory, which is all in stackable totes.
Yeah.
Her inventory is a lot easier to sort. She's kind of outgrowing that a little bit right now, but
Not quite yet, but
not quite yet. So,
and we have a whole nother room that's just the shipping room.
correct. So we do have space, but what we're going to be doing, and this will be part of what we're going to be talking about and showcasing in our videos, is how we're integrating over 4,000 items, almost doubling my inventory. So what I've done is I've given up our dining room. Wah, wah. You guys all heard me talk about this before. I wasn't wanting to do that until this opportunity came up to acquire all this inventory. Now, will I be operating with 9,000 items in my store forever? Absolutely not.
No.
I don't want to be over the 5,000 item amount in general, and 5,000 is manageable, which is where I am now. So the extra items, we are going to, we moved everything out of the dining room, and I'll be moving racks and things like that into the dining room. We have a very big dining room, and it's used like twice a year. So I anticipate that I will be forfeiting my dining room for a year, and I'm just putting a curtain in front of it to block it off so it's not visible to the rest of the living space. So we'll see how that goes.
I was gonna say, how'd you feel about making those changes?
I don't like it.
It's not great, but
I don't like it.
It's kind of like when, I used to have, when we were at our old house, I used to have my inventory in the garage with Victoria's. And I had to do a little bit of convincing to her because at the time we had 2 spare bedrooms that were as spare bedrooms with beds and everything.
In our other house, which is smaller than this house.
But it was the same kind of deal where we had multiple spare bedrooms. And I was like, it's nice, the idea that we could have 2 groups of visitors come and stay here in bedrooms. But the reality was that happened maybe once a year where we actually made use of both of those rooms at the same time. And when you do what we do for a living and you don't want to have to pay for extra storage outside of your house, it's kind of a luxury that it makes a lot more sense to give that up for use for the entire year than saving this big space that, and again, not that we want to have the dining room like this forever, but in this particular situation where we have this opportunity, Vikki has this opportunity, it just doesn't make any sense to go out and spend hundreds of dollars a month on extra storage space that's outside of the home.
And then have to go back and forth.
That when we have the space here,
yeah,
readily available, that we just need to make a few changes to get.
And then to go back and forth to do the shipping and all that kind of stuff. So obviously keeping it in the dining room, I don't love it, but it will work. And my goal is to have everything sold or pared down within a year, so that because I'll be listing everything slowly. And remember, I'm not going to be taking 4,000 plus items and making them all live on my eBay store in a week. No. I'm going to be doing 25 to 30 items a day every day. They're already photographed, they're already listed. I'm going to be using List Perfectly to pull everything from Diane's store into mine. Everything's already done. But the first week after I get here is going to be organizing it so that I'm able to find everything for when it is listed. Because it's not mine, I'm not going to know where everything is, right? So I've got to figure out a way to organize it so that I'm able to pull it. I've got to try to find a way to integrate it into my inventory system, which is basically I just keep like items together. So I'll be working on that. I have some ideas, and Trish is going to be here for a week after, so we're going to be doing a lot of that type of manual stuff. And she's wicked smart. It's sometimes very helpful to have somebody that is not in the middle of your business trying to give you advice on how to make things work better and be more efficient. We're all kind of stuck in our ways. I know I am.
You're much more willing to listen to her than me too.
That's true. But I think she's going to be a lot of help with me being able to figure out like what the best way would be. I mean, I have some ideas of what I think it's going to be, but I'm willing to listen, Yeah. So that's going to be a part of the whole process. So the reality is that pretty much the entire month of May is going to be me traveling, picking this inventory up, bringing it back and reintegrating it into my home. I'm not going to be listing. So we're going to see, we're not going to be doing these shows for the next couple weeks in this way. I anticipate I'm going to have quite a drop in my income because of that. I'm going to be doing what I can to optimize some listings daily while I'm on the road, but that I may not get to that every day. So this is a big financial, my shipping will be done daily. Katie will be doing my shipping. So this is going to be a big financial hit for a month. On top of the cost, obviously, and the time away from the business. However, I think it's setting me up for it to be a much better year in general. I'm the last half of the year I think will be very good. So I'm willing to sacrifice that for, the future benefit or the future payoff for that. So I'm excited about all those things.
Yeah.
I have 2 more sleeps, as I keep saying. So I go to Rhode Island. I fly out at the crack of dawn. My flight is 6 a.m. on Tuesday.
She just told me at 6 a.m. and I'm like, what? That means I have to get her to the airport at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, so my flight is at 6 a.m. And then I'll get into Rhode Island, and I'm going to be spending Tuesday through Saturday with my friends and family on the East Coast, doing my normal May visit, doing all the fun things and eating all the good food. And then I head to Boston, right outside Boston. I head to Diane's home on Sunday early morning. We pick up the truck, and we have a whole team of people helping us. Trish and I load the truck on Sunday. And then Sunday evening, we have the Boston meetup. And then I'll be staying at Diane's home with her husband at the house. And then we take off Monday right after Mastermind. We're doing the Mastermind call with Trish for List Perfectly. And then we take off right after that. So about 10 o'clock in the morning or so, we'll be taking off on Monday.
Well, so if you want to go back to our last live video that we did with Trish, all of the links to all the meetups are in the description of that video. And also make sure that you've joined the Katy and Vikki Facebook group, because all the stuff is going to be very active there throughout the time that this trip is happening. So it's probably the best place for daily updates and interactions and everything.
There's going to be a lot of stuff happening. We're going to be doing reels and videos almost every day, if not every day. There's going to be a lot of content. We may go live from that group or live from Instagram, or both in that group. So we're going to be trying to stay really connected with all of you guys and bring you along on this trip with us. For those of you that are not able to physically come and meet us out at one of the stops.
And I made a post in the Facebook group today calling for ideas for bingo. And so the idea is that there's websites where you enter in like all of your bingo things, kind of like numbers, only this will be words. And then everybody will be able to go and generate their own unique makeup of that bingo card so that you can play along. But I need ideas to put in there. So it can be things like, a lot of people were saying stuff about certain items thrifted, but since they're not going to be doing a ton of thrifting, I need other ideas
there.
But it needs to be something like, I don't know,
take a picture of a state sign.
Vikki cut somebody off. No, that would be for the scavenger hunt. It's things that happen.
Okay.
And it can't be stuff that you manufacture. So it's got to be stuff like maybe they get a flat tire, or
don't say that.
Maybe they get honked at. Maybe they, I don't know. Anything.
Is there a road rage incident?
Vikki rolls her eyes. There could be any number of things that might happen on a road trip, or at a meetup with people, or driving across the country, or whatever. I need a bunch of stuff. Yeah, maybe they drive by, they see a cow. But it has to be something that happens that you're going to be able to see in like a YouTube video or on TikTok or something
Well,
like that.
we'll be pulling over and taking pictures at things. Here's
Yeah.
the thing. Trish and I are gonna have fun. There is no question we are gonna have fun. We're driving a total of about 3,200 miles, in a 13-day period of time, and there are only there are three places along the way that we're staying 2 nights because we get in like later, and there are 2 days that we have 10-hour driving days. The rest of the days are okay.
Yeah. All right, so we'll get more into like goals and what the next week and few weeks are going to look like at the end of the show. But the first part of the show, we're going to kick it off here. The first part of the show, we look at our real numbers. We look at our gross numbers across all our platforms for this last week. And then we break down some of those costs like the fees and shipping, and of course, most importantly, cost of goods. And in the middle part of our show, we look at some sales highlights. We haven't had this version of our show for a couple of weeks now, so we're going to show you some of our most interesting things that we sold over the last few weeks.
Easter was last week, and then the week before that, we did the show with Trish.
Yep,
so it's
exactly.
Been a
Few weeks. And then of course the last part of the show we'll get back to talking about some of our goals and like what I'm planning on trying to do while Vikki is gone, and see if we can pull this off. Can we pull this off? I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and share the screen.
We're about
here.
to find out.
We're gonna find out real soon, that's for sure. All right, so as far as my numbers go, man, Etsy is just really dried up for me. I think a lot of that has to do with lack of listing overall. I list a lot fewer vintage stuff these days, and also in the last couple of months there hasn't been a lot of new listing. I am ramping it up though again now. But I had 36 eBay orders. eBay has picked up a little bit. 4 Etsy orders, 6 Poshmark orders. Poshmark actually beat Etsy. And then 1 lonely little Depop order. Etsy gross sales $1,320.29. I had a decent amount of orders, but a lot of like low priced items. Etsy $157.46, Poshmark $175, and then my one sale on Depop was a decent one for $70. Total gross sales $1,722.75. Shipping $172.65. You can see the breakdown of the fees there, and then cost of goods $145. Total net sales $1,194.08. And you can see my gross average sale price. My goal is really to hit 40, so it was definitely lower. But like I said, I had a lot of like low price items that sold. $36.65. Net average sale price $25.41. So it's okay. But like I said, I've been ramping up my new listings. I did a lot of I'm like way behind on ending listings and completely revamping them and doing sell similar. Like my oldest ones are from mid 2023, which means I have a lot of stuff that's super stale and also overpriced, pretty overpriced at this point. And you're going to see in my sales highlights, I've sold a number of things that I've redone, but I was doing a lot of that over these last few weeks. But I'm really ramping up my new listings, new listings, which is giving me more stuff for Etsy. So overall, I'm happy with the direction I'm seeing my eBay store going. I'm happy with the increased sales, like the percentage of growth in my eBay store last 31 days. It's going okay.
I cannot say the same, but okay. So here's the reality. I went a couple of weeks with doing very minimal listings, having not a lot of new items to list, and listing just jewelry and swimsuits, which meant my other categories that I have the most inventory in were kind of neglected. So it is what it is, right? I mean, do as I say, not as I do it right now, because honestly, this has not been the best last couple of months for me. Also, getting ramped up for this trip, there's been a lot of work involved in us creating these meetups and finding the spaces and doing different Zoom calls with meetup organizers and with eBay and our sponsors and things like that. So we decided to take on something that is kind of became a big deal, and it wasn't. We didn't initially think it was going to be as big of a deal as that has become.
Right.
So it has been involved quite a bit of work, which we're excited to do. But that does take away from the actual work where I actually make money, because, doing a bunch of meetups is not going to make me any money. It's going to be a lot of fun, but it's not going to pay the bills. So I had 24 sales on eBay, 5 on Etsy, 7 on Poshmark, nothing on Mercari. I've stopped listing to Depop at all, so we really do need to change that. And you
have nothing listed there at all?
No, it's all. I pulled it all.
Okay.
And Mercari is, I'm still cross posting there, but I'm not doing anything with it. So I don't know. We'll see. So 1625.82 on eBay, 233.64. My Etsy is also very slow. 235 on Poshmark, total of 2,094.46, 149 in shipping. You see the breakdown of the rest of the fees, and then you see my cost of goods, which is low. In total, 1611.43 net sales. My gross average sale price is good because I'm selling. You'll see some, the jewelry is a higher average sale price. So 58.18 gross average sale price, 44.76 net average sale price. So not too bad there. Let me see, what are the trash in there?
Anything else you want to say about this before I take it off the screen?
Nope, we can take it off the screen. I was just looking at the chat there.
Yeah, well, because I see that Emily's asking about the setup, and I can show you right now. Try not to mess up any of Vicki's stuff here. She has this handy dandy little tiny light box that we actually got from eBay. You can see it says eBay on the side.
These are the little light boxes that we got. They were for the reseller remix in 2023. They sent us hundreds of these, and they're actually great for jewelry.
You can get these pretty much on like Amazon.
You can get them on Amazon too, I think. But yeah, I had a bunch of them. We had cases of them that were given to us.
But for people who don't have
Yeah,
them.
so they're very inexpensive, even if you were to find them. I think the eBay ones you can even find. I'm sure people have them listed like under $25. They're perfect for jewelry. I wouldn't say that it's good for anything else, really.
Right.
It has to be very small, otherwise you can see all the sides when you take a picture of it. So
well, and you love that you could just sit at your desk and
yeah, I don't
take
have to
pictures
like
and list.
I don't have to get up and put my ring lights
be bent
on
over a
and
table.
bent over a table and taking measurements and like dressing a mannequin and undressing a mannequin, all the things that you have to do with the other stuff. So I love that it's small, and then I can do a bunch of photographs very quickly and easily right at my desk.
And her jewelry pictures are way better than any of our other pictures.
It's true. It's true.
Anyway, yeah, so why don't we go ahead and just jump into our sales highlights here.
Oh, and Susie, as far as accepting an offer on Etsy, they're either going to buy it or they're not. They don't have to. Yeah, it's
just
I would
like
say
Depop.
It's like Depop in that way, but I will say Etsy's probably 85%. In my opinion, 85% they accept the offer and they buy it, because if they initiate an offer to you, they will accept it and pay. As opposed to Depop is maybe 20% of the time they actually pay.
I'd say it's about the same on both, but it really doesn't matter because
for me,
you're basically saying, yeah, I'd be willing to sell it to you for that, but it doesn't mean it's sold. It doesn't change anything on your end. It just means that if they decide to buy it, they'll get it for that price.
No, and the
within 2
biggest
days.
problem I have with that is that you used to be able to do it through your phone, and you can only accept offers or counter offers for Etsy on your desktop now, and you can't even do it on the desktop version of Etsy on a phone. It's a pain in the ass.
That's dumb.
So you have to technically have a laptop to make it work.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and tell us about these?
These were just some cute sweater booties that I picked up at the bins. They were new. Somebody probably gave them to someone else as a gift or whatever. They were new. They were in the bag. Look how cute they are. And no wear or anything like that. The stickers are still on the bottom. They were there were not a lot of them listed. So it was a little harder to comp these because it's not a popular thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know how old they are. I don't think they're vintage, but maybe they were a few years old. But I paid like $3-4 for them based on weight, and they sold for $58 plus shipping.
Nice. All right, my first. So like I said, I did a bunch of ending old listings and then doing sell similar. And then what I do when I'm doing that, first of all, I can tell which ones I've done this with because this is normally my main photograph. But when I'm doing it as a new listing, I'm trying to have the main photograph be something different. And so hopefully it's different enough that it'll be re-indexed out as a totally new listing out into the world of Google. I don't know if it fits enough, but there's not really a whole lot else I can do.
Not for a
when it
t-shirt.
comes to a t-shirt. So I know that this is one that I redid. And then I completely change up my title because I have changed how I structure my title. So my title's different. It's funny because this one sold and there's like needs to be a space right there. So it's really annoying to me now.
I have a typo in one of my sales too.
Yeah. And so I changed this, and then usually my price comes down significantly. So originally I had this for at least probably 3 years. And originally when I listed it some crazy high price. And I'm like, hey, it's Sam Kinison. And then it never, ever sold, even with like really aggressive offers. So I dropped my prices, and I actually sold quite a few things this last week that I had done that with. And so I sold this. I sent an offer out for $40 and sold it for 40. And I'm like, I think originally I maybe paid like $10 for it, and I just had it sitting there for a million freaking years. So I have so much stuff that's probably way overpriced in my store that I need to turn over.
You need to get on that.
I know, because it does work. It really does work.
All right, so this was a pickup from an estate sale that I did actually during camp listing party. This came from an estate sale I went to with our friend Wendy at like 7 a.m. in Arizona, in Phoenix. I'd picked up a bunch of stuff, but what I will say is there was some great stuff, but it was all small. It was really small. So this was one of them. This is just a long crushed velvet dress. I paid $5 an item for all of these things. Sometimes I remember exactly where I get things. Sometimes I don't. But I paid $5 for it. So it took over a year, like a year and a half now, to sell. And it sold for the full price of $79.95. Right. I see Kristen Rural.
I was going to say, she's driving.
Don't be chatting and
don't
driving.
Don't look.
Don't be driving and chatting. She's coming back from the Nashville reseller meetup that looked like it was a lot of fun. There was a meetup for a couple of days. It was not a thing like the Remix. It wasn't like an educational conference. It's a meetup, just resellers getting together, hanging out, and having a great time. There was some thrifting.
Sounds fun to me.
It was a lot of fun. It looks like it was a lot of fun, I mean. So this is the second year they've done that in Nashville. And how can you not have fun in Nashville, first of all?
Yeah.
I mean, I bet that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I was happy that dress finally sold, and happy it sold for full price. So, $5 into $80. As we know, I don't have a very fast sell through because of what I sell, and I'm okay with that.
How long has your Chrome been needing to be updated?
I didn't know it needed to be updated.
It tells you right there. Anyway, all right. So here's another one. You can see this used to be my main photo. I've had this for well over 2 years, probably more like 3 years. It's such a freaking cool shirt. So I did have it priced up. It's not just your typical Snoopy shirt. And it was this really nice, like really cool giant graphic, basically an all over print sort of mega print. But I priced it down, and then I sent an offer again for $40, and it was accepted. So moving it on out of my inventory. Another $40 sale, which nowadays the way I price stuff, a $40 t-shirt is pretty freaking good, man. Pretty freaking good.
All right, this is another one that sold at full price. This came from a buyout. Oh, not a buy. This came actually from Robin in Florida. This was one of the large purchases I made from her. A huge lot of purchases. I paid an average of $4 an item. This sold for $99. So I've had this for probably about a year. I think it's pretty cool. I love the look of that. It totally looks like a waitress's uniform. That's not what it is, but it could have been, and maybe it was. I mean, it wasn't necessarily sold as such, but like, doesn't this just scream Alice? Like, kiss my grits?
Yep. Jen, you're absolutely correct. Oh, where'd my screen go? Sorry, I just screwed up and lost my... Where'd it go?
What'd you do?
Sorry, I was trying to highlight Jen's thing. Definitely correct, because you're going to be in Ohio. You're going to be in Kansas. These are all prime places for weather events. Well, possibly.
No, Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado. You could get some. Well, you're going into May. You could get some snow. But hail,
there's still snow on the pass.
Hail, tornadoes, snow, weather events for sure.
Listen, Ohio has a lot of weather. Listen, let's just hope that we have smooth sailing, guys. Please don't wish for any like hailstorms and shit, because
they're not wishing for it, but they might if it's their like missing piece of the bingo.
A 16-foot truck with Trish and I trying to drive it through weather events is not going to be a good deal.
Okay, so you can handle a little bit of rain for a minute. All right. Next up for me, so this is one I just listed. I had bought a big bulk of items from our friend Jen, like 170 t-shirts and 50 sweatshirts. And so far I've only photographed and listed a handful of them, like maybe 50 of them. And there's a bunch of Peace Corps stuff in there, like vintage 70s and 80s Peace Corps t-shirts.
That's pretty cool.
And this is the first one to sell. Of course, it's super, super tiny. But it sold within the week that I put it up, and I sold it. It's another one I sold for $40. With how I price things, I kind of, I'm still pricing a little bit higher, but then I have my offers, my aggressive offers that I send out, and sold it for $40. But it's a really cool Peace Corps t-shirt. So
that is cool.
It's a fast flip. So I paid $5 for it, sold it for $40. Not too shabby.
This is one of the jewelry pieces I sold. As you can see, this is my typo. I have topaz instead of topaz. But see the light box actually
really
makes
good.
a really good photo. So it sold for the price you see there. This is a
little bit
consignment
blurry
piece.
there, but we won't talk about that.
Listen, shut your mouth. It sold for $99.95. Just a blue topaz sterling necklace. I do weigh them, gold and sterling, when it's heavy or chunky pieces. Weight matters right now, especially with gold. I mean, gold is up to $3,500 an ounce. If you have any 10 karat or 14 karat gold and you are thinking of selling it, now is the time. Even scrap gold, throw it up there, sell it.
Kathleen, thank you. On the positive weather side, a rainbow.
Yeah, see, that's a good one. Thank you, Kathy.
All right. Next up for me, here's another one that I relisted, as you can see from my photograph, what I have as my main photo. I think this shirt's great. I like all the promo t-shirts and like the liquor shirts if they have cool graphics, and I think this is a great shirt, the Cardi Squeeze. And so I've had this for at least a few years, and I probably had it listed at like $70 or something stupid like that. So again, different photo, completely changed up my title, lowered the price, and it sold for the price you see there, $41.99 plus shipping. So, I mean, that's 3 things so far, and that's just what I chose to show you from this little section of time. I'm selling the stuff that I'm putting back up. So it's stuff that's been sitting stale for years. So if you haven't done this in a while and you have really old listings, if you're going to do it, don't waste your time and just relist it. Like, definitely when it comes to eBay, you definitely want to like change your photo, change your title, change your price. Go in and make sure that you have all your item specifics filled out. So
go in and really massage that listing.
Ew, I feel uncomfortable now. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this was a bins buy. So I think I paid probably $3 or $4 for this based on weight, but this is one of those
inappropriate. What is that?
It's a face thing. It's like for doing like the whatever, like not red light therapy, but close to it. Like it's that kind of stuff for anti-aging. Listen, sure, as one of the people I know that is doing 9,000 skincare steps a day for your good skin, I'm actually shocked you didn't steal this from my inventory and figure out how to zap your face with it. Anyway, it was complete, open box, so everything in it was still like, the only thing that had been moved was the part I plugged it in to see that it worked, and nobody was getting electrocuted. So it was like new other. That's why I put it new other. Somebody offered me $95, and I was quite happy to sell it for $95. It's a facial wand. It's not a dirty thing, you weirdos.
Sure.
It's electric. It plugs in for crying out loud.
It's a massager.
It's not a massager. It doesn't say massage anywhere there.
I was making the comparison. That's all.
Oh, you weirdo. Yeah, it probably is argon and neon. Let me look. It's definitely, yep, it is argon and neon. Look at you with your periodic table of elements hack there, Kathy Mack. I forgot my most of my symbols.
Alexis feels uncomfortable too.
All right, you guys are all weirdos.
All right, anything else?
Sickos, all of you sickos.
Anything else?
No, nothing else.
All right, and then here's another one that I relisted, switch things around and stuff. And this is a vintage Christian t-shirt, Jesus tee, that I've had for quite a while. I think this is a really good one. But it sold, somebody sent me an offer for $50. I had it at $59.99. So I said, yes, I will take your $50 plus shipping. And back in the day I would have sold this for $100, but we won't talk about that. We won't think about that. And just be happy that I made a sale.
Just be happy that you sold it.
I bought it for maybe $5 to $10. So I was very happy to finally have it out.
All right. So in part of me going through the rest of my stuff, I finally got rid of my doll clothing and doll death pile. I did sort through, listed all the dolls that were worth listing, threw out a bunch of dolls that were just sitting there taking up space for the past 4 or 5 years. And I've started listing lots of doll clothes, and this is one of them. Again, I'm not going super crazy because these are large lots and I'm selling them for pennies. So people that buy them that are collectors or putting them on dolls or repurposing them or want to sell them individually, which is not me, they're getting a great deal. It sold for the price you see there, $135. These were all for dolls from 8-inch size dolls to 15-inch dolls. And I've been separating them in that way, trying to put together lots based on the doll size that they would fit. And so I only have, I have a few hundred more doll clothes to list. But I still have to sort those. Those are not getting done till I get back for sure. So they're kind of in a pile now. But these have been flying. As I'm listing these things, they are flying. So I'm pretty happy getting them done.
Nice. All right, next up for me, my sad little Etsy sales. I only sold a couple of things, but I figured I'd show you this Greeley Stampede rodeo t-shirt. As we always say, pretty much anything rodeo, cowboy, western, stuff like that does sell, so you want to make sure you're using all those keywords. I've had this one for a while. If I listed this today, I would definitely have listed it for cheaper and probably sold it a lot faster, but I was happy to get $44.09 from it. But yeah, anything rodeo, cowboy related, it's hot, hot, hot.
And has been for a while.
Has been forever, I feel like.
And I look at, Crystal Mouse is in the chat. Good to
What's
see you
up,
in there, Crystal.
What's happening? Happy Sunday.
Okay, so this is another one of these lots from the jewelry. As I said, I've been piecing out and selling anything that is worth selling on its own. Generally speaking, that for me, that means $50 and higher. So there were a couple of items in here I could have sold for $50 or higher. There's some, silver Silpata watches and some Michael Kors. However, that was what was the draw in the lot itself. Most of these, out of 56 watches, I would say 50 of them are watches that would have sold for $10 to $15 each. I'm not interested in selling anything for $10 to $15 each. And again, part of that is me plowing through the sheer quantity that I have with the jewelry is doing lots. Now, whether this becomes a reseller lot or a collector lot, I don't care. There's money there to be made for someone else, and I'm fine with that. So these took about 3 or 4 weeks to sell. It sold for the price you see there, $187. And customers super happy.
Nice. All right, Alexis forgot to bring a big bag of new old stock Vanity Fair panties. They were not moist panties, though.
Ew.
Anyway, so Alexis, you're just going to have to come back and bring me all the rest of the stuff that...
And are all the watches working? Most of them, the batteries are dead. 95% of them are brand new and have never been used.
Yeah.
So the plastic thing is still there. The watches probably would work. I don't care whether they're working or not. They have either not been used or they've been worn once or twice. I'm not putting in batteries in watches for things like this. The person that buys this knows full well that the batteries are going to need to be replaced, but they're like brand new. I would never bother to try. Like, watches don't break. Yeah. If a watch battery is dead, all you need to do is replace it.
Unless it's like you're actually making real money. Yeah, you want to make sure.
If it's like a Rolex or a Breitling
or even a couple $100 watch,
a few $100 watch, I would probably put a $5 battery in. But otherwise, it's definitely not worth it.
Not for a lot.
You're just going to assume it works.
Yeah. All right, next up for me, this is my best sale I had on Etsy. Best Country KPLX 99.5. So one of the reasons why I want to show this, other than the fact that it's like the second most expensive thing I sold this week, sadly, is I've noticed. So in the past, you guys, if you've been selling on eBay for a long enough time, you know that stuff falls off and disappears and somehow it magically isn't listed anymore in your inventory. And probably at some point you've gone through and done some sort of inventory, even if it's just like grabbing a box of your stuff and checking to make sure it's still listed on eBay. I did that a couple of years ago and ended up finding, I think, all out of my few thousand items, like 150 of them weren't listed anymore. And so I was able to get those listed back up there. But I have noticed in probably like within the last week or two, I have had, I think, like 3 different things sell on different platforms other than eBay, that when I went to go end it on eBay, it was no longer listed there. And this was one of them. And it always makes me, for a second, I think, oh my gosh, did I sell this on eBay already and I forgot to end it everywhere else? And so then when I go to pull it from my inventory, I'm just hoping, crossing my fingers, hoping it's actually still there. And this was one of them. So clearly a bunch of my stuff, I don't know how much of it, but some of my stuff has fallen off of eBay again. So I don't know if that's been happening to any of you guys.
Now, I will say that eBay has denied that this happens. They've denied it forever. There are some sellers that will say that it's usually user error, and there is some truth to that. There is obviously you forget to relist things that didn't get paid for, items that were returned you didn't relist properly.
Yeah.
Things that weren't. It does happen. However, It is not everything. Not everything is user error. There is a black hole. I've been on eBay for 28 years at this point. We all know that it happens.
Yep.
Items just disappear. And it is not, it's just a fact. It has happened to every single seller, and not every single seller can attribute every single thing to user error. I don't know what the reason is behind it, but it's one more vote for me to be able to have my items, and Katy does not do this, but to have my items not just cross-posted, but I do keep my items in my List Perfectly catalog.
Yeah.
Now, unlike some people, I don't keep my stuff there. Once it sells, I delete it. I delete it everywhere. I don't mark it as sold or anything like that, because I'm never going to be selling the exact same thing in the exact same condition again. So I have zero reason to keep my listings there. My catalog only has live listings. However, because my listings are all there, if I find something, it is at the highest resolution for as far as photographs. I don't need to rephotograph it, and I can just push it back out to the other platforms.
No, I get that, but I also
and now they have them, and then they do have Issue Finder now on List Perfectly.
But I do also have all my stuff listed on other platforms, and I never delete anything off of Etsy, whether it's sold or not, or just ended. It's all still there, so I can access those listings. Kathy said, or they mysteriously reappear. Well, and that's the other thing. Sometimes
that happens on Etsy.
Sometimes, but what happens on eBay is that sometimes it's not so much that the listing's gone, it's that there's a glitch and the search doesn't work. Because I have had times where eBay search on my listings tab, when I'm just looking internally at my inventory, you'll put in like one word, and it's like you know absolutely for sure that is there, and it doesn't come up. It doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while it's like there's a weird glitch, and it's like you have to
put a couple words in to make it fit.
And then you're like, okay, that word was there. Why is it not showing up? So
yeah, I mean, it definitely happens on Etsy. I have sold things on Etsy many times, and this has been in just the past 2 or 3 years. I've sold things on Etsy. I can count more than 10 times at least that it has sold on Etsy. It's gone on every other platform, and it has sold on Etsy before. There is no way to take a sold listing and make it active again on Etsy by accident. There's no possible way. No. So that's an Etsy glitch, and it has happened to me enough that I mean, there's no other explanation for it. Something that sold like a year ago on Etsy is suddenly sells again. I'll be like, how the hell did that sell? I know I don't have that anymore.
Yep. And don't even get me started with the Poshmark search, because I can search Wrangler in my closet, and 3 of the 8 Wrangler items I have show up, and then I have to go in and just put in Western, and then it'll suddenly be there.
Yeah.
It's always like a dirty trick.
eBay search is lovely, right?
No, that's Poshmark.
Oh, Poshmark. Well, Poshmark, I can tell you exactly how that happens. Poshmark, that happens because if you're choosing the category, if you're choosing the brand based on category, it sorts differently than if you are just putting something in as unbranded or vintage American.
But doesn't it search the titles?
Not in the same way.
It's stupid.
So I can tell you how that happens on because it will happen, because there are certain times I'll have like BCBG, and it's been chosen as BCBG Next Generation would be the brand that was chosen when instead of it being anyway.
It should still show up.
It's a disconnect in the search. Yeah. But that I understand why that one happens. So, all right. So this was another sale this week. This actually sold within about 12 hours of listing. It sold for a best offer price of $170. Perfectly happy to sell that. Vintage class rings. It's 10 karat gold, not 14 karat. It's super light because it's a woman's ring. And I will say that they don't sell for much more than that. I mean, 170 to 225 is the range it would have been, and it sold very quickly. And I was happy to get it out the door. It was in good shape. Wasn't all bent and smushed. Usually when you find them, they're like not even in good shape, and this one is in good shape with onyx and everything.
Now I've sold one thing on Mercari in the last month. I did stop listing there. All my stuff is still there, but I haven't cross-posted probably since the beginning of the year, since we were in Boston, the Boston area. I kind of decided I didn't really feel like cross-posting anymore to Mercari, Grailed, or Depop. Eventually, maybe I'll go back when I feel like it and have some extra time.
There's not enough money in
so I've only been focusing on eBay, Etsy, basically my top 3 platforms, eBay, Etsy, and Poshmark. But I'm still selling stuff randomly, and so I sold this for $31. I bought it for maybe $5, but I've had it for quite a long time, even though it's such a cute shirt. I live for camping.
Tommy asked, do I have a gem tester? I have a diamond tester, and I don't have a gold tester. Those are hit or miss. The gold the scratch testing for gold. If it's not marked, I've only had a couple of things that haven't been marked, to be honest with you. I have a diamond tester. I have a jewelry scale. I have the loop. I have the whole thing. See, I started out as a fine jewelry salesperson in my late teens, early 20s. That's what I did. I worked for fine jewelry companies. So I actually understand jewelry really well. I have more difficulty with costume than I do with the real stuff. I can generally tell if something's real pretty easily, whether it's marked or not. But if you are not comfortable with gems or gemstones or anything like that, you absolutely should have gem testers. There's only so many things you can test for, to be honest with you, Tommy. There's nothing that's going to test for onyx or blue topaz or citrine or anything like that. That's just, you just need to know.
Yeah. All right, next one for you.
Okay, so this is just one of my other sales. Again, my photos are pretty good on the jewelry, right? This sold for $295. I did take an offer, wow. $295. This sold within about 2 or 3 days of listing. There was a lot of interest on it. I think I could have held out for a little bit more. The last one that was in new condition like this sold for like 300 and change, and there weren't too many listed, but there were enough. That I was pretty happy with $295, and you can tell this like has never been worn. The sticker was still on the back of it. It was still in the box. This is from the 90s. I think this Jules Jurgensen brand was sold through QVC, and some of these watches and things that this woman owned were she was a big QVC buyer too. So
yeah, interesting. All right, next up for me. Sorry for the inappropriate title on here or on the shirt, but this is a sleeveless hoodie. I know it's a death metal band. Gross. It's a sleeveless hoodie, not vintage. I found it at the bin, sleeves cut off, and I was like, I bet I can still sell this. I've had it for a while, but I sold it on Depop of all places for $70, and of course they pay for the shipping, and the sleeves were cut off, not vintage, like I said. So this kind of
gross though.
It is gross, but I made $70, so it is what it is.
I really hate those death metal font. Like when you can't.
I mean, this one you actually can.
This one you can tell what it is.
Some of them you can't read.
But some of them you can't even tell. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, but I paid it was pretty light because the sleeves weren't there, so I paid like maybe $2 for it and sold it for $70 plus shipping. This is one of 2 things I've sold on Depop in the last month.
Okay, this is not a huge sale or anything, but this is just to show that, Disney merchandise, I do pick it up. I pick it up if it's different. I pick it up if it's vintage. I pick it up if it looks cool. I don't pick up everything, but I mostly will pick up stuff that's from like Disney, Disneyland, or Disney World. Not the mass-produced crap that you can find at Walmart, but some of it is pretty good. So, when it's Disney parks, I'll pick it up. But you can tell that this is like 90s style, maybe early Y2K. That whole tattoo style was like really big, with that whole Sailor Jerry retro look was big in the early 2000s. Kind of around when Affliction was big, and that's what this is. So it sold for $56. I probably paid $2 for it.
Very nice. All right, and my other Depop sale, I sold this last week. I did not sell it for that price. I sold it for $105. Someone made an offer. This is one of those offers I got that actually got paid for. And this was just kind of an interesting shirt because it's Lakers, but it's this. It was some special game.
Weird.
From 1990. I don't remember what the deal was. Something Tel Aviv. I don't know, but so I had priced it up a bit, probably too much. I had this for quite a while, at least a couple of years, but sold it for $105, and of course they paid for their shipping too. So actually, it's like probably my best sale in like the last month because I don't sell anything for over $100 anymore. Victoria,
I'm so
you don't
sorry.
even care.
I don't.
Anyway.
Okay, so I paid $10 for this at a garage sale, and it was no markings other than that I know it's rabbit. There were no tags anywhere. I think if I had a tag that
there's
had well, yes, but there's no RN number and there's no brand or anything like that. If I had that, I think I would have done better because this was beautifully made. It was with a bunch of high-end designer clothing. Unfortunately, I could not attribute this to any specific designer.
Yeah.
So it sold for $65, and I was happy to get $65, but it's a beautiful jacket. It was like the plackets on the inside of the jacket were leather. It was really nicely made, beautifully lined. There's cheap rabbit clothing and cheap rabbit jackets, and then there's really nice ones, and this happened to be a really nice one. I bet it was a good designer, and I probably could have made way better money on it if I had known what that designer was.
Yep. All right, and I sold a couple of things on the old Poshmark this week. This is just a John Deere trucker hat, as you can see. I bought it for $5, sold it for $35 on Depop. Going back to rodeo and cowboys, basically anything good old boy
John Deere always
is going to do well. So tractor stuff, John Deere stuff, so anything vintage John
my
Deere.
Tractor sexy.
Even not vintage John Deere, you're going to be able to sell for an okay price. But I had this hat sitting around for a while, but I was happy to sell it for $35. So yeah, don't pass up John Deere for sure.
And this is another one of those, I always say to pick up certain brands that are vintage, Abercrombie and American Eagle from the 90s and Y2K. That type of stuff is super popular right now, men's and women's. So this is one, these are just cargo pants, paratrooper pants. I think if we look at some of the, more of the photos, I think there may even be some, the ripcord's missing from the ankles. There's a drawstring waist. There's paint splotches on them. I mean, these are not in like pretty condition, right? But they're super popular, super popular. If these were in better condition, they would have sold faster and would have sold for more money. But I was very happy to get $70 for them. I probably paid $3 or $4 at the bins. Do not sleep on stuff because most people wouldn't pick this up with the damage. Yeah. Most people would be like, why do I want crappy old cheap mall brand crap?
Yeah.
That's falling apart.
Yeah. All right. And then my last sale is this cool GTE rainbow t-shirt. This took a little while to sell. I probably had it priced too high. Now I probably priced it at more like $30. But
I was like, what's GTE? Oh, General Telephone and
yeah, but my thinking at the time is like, we've talked about this on the show before.
Electronic, not electric.
Huh?
General Telephone and Electronic?
I don't know. Somebody look it up. Am I crazy? Anyway, we've talked before about the vintage 80s polo shirts that have the rainbows going across the chest that can sell for hundreds of dollars sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I was happy to get $40 for this t-shirt. So this is nice 80s screen stars. Anyway, let's go ahead. That's it for our sales highlights. But yeah, so going back to doing the thrifting here, I bought that huge, done that big bulk buy from Jen. I've probably photographed and listed maybe about 50 of those items. So I have probably a good over 150 items still from her. I have 2 big boxes I haven't even opened yet from her. So probably about 150 plus items. And then I've thrifted some stuff. And then this last week, I have some other stuff that's already been set aside. And then I probably picked up another 130 to 150 pieces just in this last week between a bunch of different thrift stores. We didn't even thrift that much.
We really didn't.
It's just that when we went to Deseret last Saturday.
Katy and I went to Deseret on Saturday.
I got 60 pieces there. We went to our local Goodwill, and I was finding so much stuff there. I got like 37 pieces, 40 pieces there.
I think I got one thing at that one when we were with Alexis.
They're always hit or miss. I usually find one good thing, but somebody had gotten rid of all of their vintage Boy Scout t-shirts. I got some really cool 80s Boy Scout t-shirts and just a bunch of different stuff. And then we went to a couple of 3 different Savers, and there's one Savers that we went to last Saturday. It was way overpriced, but we went on one of the discount days when everything's 25% off on Thursdays, and so that helped. Plus the other Savers that we went to, they didn't have their stuff priced as crazy. They didn't have the $10 t-shirts and the $12 t-shirts. Theirs were more like $5, and some of them were $8, but most of them were around the $5 amount, which was 25% off. If it's a decent shirt, I'm willing to pick it up to get the volume. So I think I have over 300, between 300 and 400 pieces, which is enough for me to go crazy, go nuts while you're gone for 19 days.
While you still have you fulfill your honey-do list while I'm gone.
Your honey-do list isn't that extensive. And because I'm definitely getting back to my 10 listings a day. I had Alexis here for a couple of days to really get on my case because she's so mean. She's a taskmaster. I've gotten 5 listings so far today. I'm going to finish the rest of my listings today, Alexis. But I have enough that I can get my 10 listings up every single day, plus bank some more. And then hopefully you're going to come back with like 400 plus t-shirts from Susie Eats for me. Why are you making that face at
I
me?
don't think there's that many. And if there were, there's certainly
Last time
not
I
gonna
talked to her, she said she had 400 so far. You're going to have room.
We'll see.
You will. You're not going to be like tucked into the top of the truck. I promise you'll have space.
Your vintage t-shirts are not my priority on
not-
this road trip.
Okay, Victoria. Do you guys see how much she doesn't support me? I'm here helping her move crap to make everything have space for everything, doing all this grunt work for her, and she's laughing in my face about they're not vintage anyway, but laughing in my face about the concept of picking up some t-shirts while she happens to be in Kansas. So freaking rude. Anyway, so my whole next 3 weeks is just going to be basically lots of listing, lots of photographing, and getting all my inventory put away, getting my office completely reorganized and cleaned, and then the stuff on Vicki's little list that is really not that much stuff. So I'm not too worried about it.
Are you done?
Yeah, look. GTE Corporation, formerly General Telephone and Electronics Corporation. There you go.
Yes, Katy is doing my shipping. It's the least I
That
can do.
too.
Well, to be fair, I am taking a month off without any income to be doing this. So I'm going to be doing the best that I can to get out there. So Katie's got to do my shipping or we are not going to have anywhere to live.
Okay, but the point is, maybe don't laugh so rudely in my face when I ask you to pick up some t-shirts when I'm here going to be doing your shipping.
400 t-shirts.
I don't know why you think 400 t-shirts is. It's not like hard goods. It's not going to take up a massive amount of space. You weirdo. So rude. Anyway, so you're not going to have any listings to put up at all, are you?
I'm not going to be listing at all while I'm gone.
Yeah.
Not at all. I don't care if I'm losing the chat. Fuck them all. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to be exhausted is really what it is. I'm not going to have any time to do any listing. I have 0 photographs to take with me. I have nothing to photograph while I'm on the road with me. I can't. I've got to fly out there. I have nothing I don't have anything in my bank. So yeah, I'm not going to be getting anything done.
Have you thought about the jewelry doesn't take up much space. Have you thought about just taking a little bag of jewelry to be able to you can take pictures and make a listing in like barely any time at all?
Maybe, but I'm actually a little afraid to like lose anything I bring with me because then I'd have to, if I sell it while it's with me, then I've got to ship it. And that means I've got to take shipping things with me too. So we ship, one day shipping for everything, Tracy.
Yeah. You could make a separate shipping profile for those that have added.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Right.
That's too much work.
I'm just trying to
That's too much work.
I'm just trying to throw solutions out there. That's all I'm trying to do. Anyway, I don't know so I guess your goals are just basically, what do you need to get done in the next couple of days?
Well, I have to pack. I have to print out, I've got to get our stuff ready. Help you get the stuff ready for the bingo thing and the scavenger hunt thing to put up in our chat, in our groups. I have to create a document to do all the sign-up sheets for all of our events. I have to finish laundry and pack mostly.
Let's cross scavenger hunt off your list. These are things I'm doing that don't have to be done before you leave.
Okay.
So you're putting things on your. I'm just helping her because Vicki, she gets very anxious and gets herself all worked up, and so then because she has so many things that she has to do, and then I tell her, okay, make a list, because once she has it in front of her, it can make it a lot easier to tackle it, but also to go, oh, that's not really that much stuff, especially when she has stuff on there that she's not actually doing.
Yeah,
so,
I have to say I am getting a little bit stressed about it. Just not the trip itself. I mean, fine, it's packing. We're going to have a great time. Yeah. I'm not really worried about that. I'm a little stressed about the driving. And I am more than a little stressed about the lack of income coming in for the next 3 weeks. I'm not going to lie about that. I mean,
you're still going to sell some
stuff. I have a lot of bills.
You're still going to sell, and you're not having to. At least you're not having to.
I will sell, but I'm not going to sell much. I'm not going to sell much. So. I'm not changing my handling time, so that part is good. However, not listing at all for 2 or 3 weeks is going to be really stressful, in my opinion.
So why not just take a little sack of jewelry?
Because then I'd have to figure out I need to take shipping things with me.
No,
I have to ship.
it's as well as anyone else, the business policies, it's literally 1 minute, 60 seconds to add a business policy that has however many days handling you need it to be, and then just use that business policy for all of those listings. And then you can do like a couple a day. You get your hotel room, you take a picture on the bed, listed.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
Maybe.
That's a possibility.
Maybe. Gary, I'm looking forward to meeting you as well in Maryland. We have a lot of people that we're going to meet, and Gary's in. I think this might be the first time I've seen you in the chat on the show, but Gary's in the Boss Group and has been one of the active members in the Boss Group for years now. So I'm excited to meet you too. There's a lot of people I'm super excited to meet. Yeah, I can probably put some stuff. I can probably take some photos on the road. Yes, I do also hate listing from my phone. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do.
You're not taking a computer with you?
Well, I'm taking my little laptop, but it's not the same. It's the Chromebook. It doesn't work like, I don't have all the links and all the...
The one downstairs isn't a Chromebook. It's just a regular old laptop. I'm just saying, just for doing a listing on eBay.
Can you stop correcting me? Every 5
minutes.
minutes.
I'm trying to help you so that you can make money.
So yes, I always have sales running. I'm always sending aggressive offers. I'll be doing all of that. I'll probably be ending some stuff and reworking it and relisting it. That's probably about the best that I'm going to be able to do as far as keeping activity going in my store. And then once I come home, obviously it's the sorting and getting everything going again. I don't know how long it's going to take me to be able to do some listing. So I'm planning on pretty much after tomorrow, I'm not going to list anything new for like a month.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a rough couple of months, I think.
But she can do aggressive sales. I don't mind if I end up having to, it'll be good if I have to ship too much. And the thing is, because I'm here by myself and I will have zero social life because I refuse to talk to or see anybody in the 19 days that Vicki's gone, I have kind of all the time in the world. So I don't mind if it takes me 2 hours every day to do all of her shipping because she has so much stuff to ship. I would be fine with that.
Well, I'd be thrilled if that were the case, but yeah. I doubt it. It doesn't take 2 hours to ship now when I am actively listing. So
I'm saying if things went crazy and they were like tons of stuff to ship.
Let's hope they do.
I'm saying I could do it.
Actually, to be fair, I have to be honest with you and say, like, I've done some aggressive sales. I've done 40% off sales, 50% off sales. And even then, that does not really increase my sales.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she doesn't really get Tracy. She likes to be alone. Although to be fair, we've never been apart this long.
But I don't get lonely. I like quiet cave time.
The longest time we've been apart has been when I've been at camp for 9 days.
No, the longest time was when your friend Stephanie died because you went to camp and you were supposed to be gone for 10 days and you had to leave in the middle of it and go there. So you ended up being gone for more than 10 days, I believe.
Yeah.
So we've gone a long time. But no, I don't. I like quiet time and I don't get it. So it's like usually it's once a year when Vicki goes to camp that that's when I get my quiet time. But for the most part, we're together all the time, which is fine. It's just that when I have my opportunity for alone time and quiet time, I'm going to fully embrace it. And also,
Trish and I will not have any quiet time.
No,
there will be nothing quiet about the two of us.
And the other part of it is then I get to like work too much because I do have a much better work-life balance when Vicki's here. And I recognize that is like the healthier way to be. But I do take full advantage of having these days where I could be a workaholic. But I'm definitely sick of it by the time Vicki gets back home. So
your really sales are going to be great. So
you're gonna have to my sales are going to be okay.
You're going to have to be my sugar mama.
I can only do that if I get an influx of 400 plus t-shirts. So you can't be sabotaging me by leaving those t-shirts on the side of the road.
Who said I was going to leave them on the side of the road? That's
harsh. But you laughed. The chat will back me up here. You did laugh in my face when I said that you were going to be getting bringing me those t-shirts. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm just saying, if you want a sugar mama, I need the influx of inventory. I'm going to need it. Were you over there chatting on your phone? Come on.
I'm not. I'm looking at a couple of messages. Trish, I think, forgot that we're doing the show because she's messaged me like 3 times.
Come on, Tracy. You've got like 22 cats. You get lonely when it's just you and the cats? I doubt it. I've got 4 dogs. I'll be fine. And one's a puppy, and she's the cutest.
Yeah. I'm going to be sad because I'm going to miss the dogs. I'm going to really miss the dogs, especially the two that we're just all starting to bond and everything. So for me to be gone for this long is making me worried.
I'll be really mean to them while you're gone.
Okay. Make sure they don't like you at all.
See how horrible she is, you guys?
I don't want my puppy to love you more.
I'll be really I won't make eye contact with him for 19 days.
Yep. Don't snuggle.
No snuggling.
No,
Just
feed and water them.
But honestly, in the past, when Vicky has been gone, because we don't let the dogs sleep with us, because Vicky can't sleep with the dogs in the bed. So in the past, when she's been gone, I bring Ripley upstairs every night to sleep with me. I will not be doing that, and I'm very sad about it, but I will not be doing that just because I need all the dogs to keep their routine. And I definitely will not do that with either of the new dogs, because I do not need to create a routine that will not be continued on after. So
exactly,
they will all have to stay downstairs the entire time. So it's a little bit sad.
I am going to miss the dogs. I'll miss Katy too, but I usually miss her more than she misses me, to be fair. Like, she likes being alone. So when I'm gone, I actually really do miss her because we do spend 24/7 together.
Vicky's like, if I go out sourcing for the day, if I'm gone like an hour and a half, she's like messaging me and like, when are you getting me home? Why aren't you home yet? Why have you gone so long? And I'm like, okay,
I'm sorry, I like you.
But it's not just that. I think it's also that like you literally do not want to be like, you do not like to be by yourself. I think it's more about you don't want to be by yourself. So, because then I'm here and you're really mean to me. So
I give up.
So maybe it's just that you miss having somebody to roll your eyes at.
Yes, that's it. Of course I'm going to miss Katy, Susie.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to FaceTime with the dogs. They don't necessarily...
They're not dogs that can like look... They do the thing where they're like this.
Ripley will kind of... We've done it before, actually, with Ripley. And she'll kind of look at the phone a little bit.
Sort of, but not really. She does more of this. Like she can't...
Where's my voice coming from kind of thing.
Yeah, see, I can't sleep downstairs with the dogs either because the whole thing is that the two that are new, especially the mom, Gizmo, because it's been a little bit of her struggle. It's been a little bit of a struggle for her transitioning here just because she's had a very traumatic last probably 6 months. I do not want to... she's already going to be getting extra time with me. I don't want to establish any new routines that are not going to be like maintained once Vicky gets back. And so I don't want them to be expected. We have a very good routine set now where it's like 10 o'clock. We shut out the lights. We put on their Project Runway at a low level. And I give her a treat so that she's like happy to see me leave because she's getting a treat. The baby goes into her pen and like they're quiet. Like the baby doesn't cry. Gizmo doesn't cry. Nobody cries. They know that is bedtime. And then they're pretty much quiet until morning time.
Yeah.
So
we try really hard too. So the 4 dogs sleep in the family room downstairs.
Yeah, they're downstairs now.
We have an open concept kitchen, living room, family room type thing. And that's where they stay. They're gated into that area, but it's not like a playpen or anything. They have free reign and they're tiny dogs, so that's plenty of room for them. But that's where they sleep. That's where they are, hanging out during the day. That's where they're running around. That's where they're playing, all that. They just don't sleep with us.
Yeah, Matilda has a pen that she's in, a little like 3x3.
Yes, they're going to be fashion designers any minute now.
I know. We're like, what have they?
We keep Project Runway playing on the background because Roku TV has a 24/7 Project Runway channel, and the reason being is that Ripley reacts strongly to animals on anything on TV. Ripley will bark at a dog, whatever. She sees the animals. The other dogs don't really pay attention, but when she starts barking, she sets them all off.
Yeah.
And Project Runway happens to be that one channel that stays on all the time that has only ever had one episode where there's dogs.
I know. I was like, wait, is that a dog? But the other thing is that it's funny because, Gizmo's been having a hard time, but Ripley is probably the most neurotic of our 4 dogs now because she's always on high alert. And so it's like, you can't, if it's too quiet, I started doing the Project Runway before we got the new dogs because, if it's too quiet, if she hears any sound from the outside, like
the neighbors have kids, or
she starts barking.
Someone shuts the car door, or the Amazon driver drops something off, and you hear the little beep of the scanner. I mean, she reacts to everything, and then she'll go on a barking frenzy.
And then the other dogs go off. So it's having
she's kind of a little asshole.
Having something on the TV that's like that's making noise, it just helps because then she doesn't notice the other stuff.
It mutes the smaller noises that happen outside.
Yep. Anyway, all right, let's wrap this up. So this show is not going to be back for probably like a month, but there's going to be plenty.
We're supposed to do one next week. Actually.
This show,
this specific format
show.
Yes.
But there's going to be tons of other stuff going on, so just pay attention. And again, if you're in the Facebook group, the Katy and Vikki Facebook group, that's where you're definitely not going to miss out on if there's any live shows coming up, or where they're at, or what's going on with the meetups, or what's going on with bingo or scavenger hunt. You don't
and there's
want to
a
miss out on
couple
that.
of, just so you guys know, there's also a couple of our meetups we're going to be doing in a hybrid fashion. There are a few meetups that we'll be doing virtually as well. So take a look at the seller events page on eBay and see which ones are listed as hybrids. I do believe right now we're going to try for Boston to be a hybrid event, Ohio, and DC. The DC, Maryland one.
All right.
Those are the three that I'm 100% sure that we're going to be trying to do hybrid. All that means is that, part of what we're going to be talking about, we'll be facing, the room is going to be enough that you'll be able to virtually tune in if you want to, and see what's happening. And, we're going to do our best this is our first time trying that. So I don't hold us, feet to the fire or anything. We're going to do our best to try and make it something that you can experience virtually as well. Thankfully it's free, so you can't complain too loudly and ask for a refund.
I mean, you can.
But nothing I can do about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing the people that we're going to see on the stop. Emily, I'm looking forward to seeing you. I haven't seen you in quite a while now. I'm glad you're coming to Denver, so thank you for that. And yeah. And that's it. I mean, I'm excited about this. I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little nervous. It's going to be,
You'll have Trish, though, and Trish is the problem solver.
She is. And we both have AAA and, all, all that kind of stuff. That's a long drive. It's a long drive, and it's a lot of distance, and I'm a little bit nervous. I will say, thankfully, my sciatica seems to be under control. It's, I'm at maybe 5% of the pain level I was at.
Now my back hurts.
I'm still, I've got my muscle relaxers. I've got my heating pad for the truck. I've got my old lady kit ready. And I'm going to do what I can. So.
All right.
And Tracy, I hope I do get to see you and Frankie. I'll be at Twin River in Rhode Island on the Saturday before we leave, going to see my favorite band. I actually planned my trip this month around the band being there that night because I haven't seen them in person in a long time.
There you go. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. But thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Go get your listing done. Alexis, I hope you got your 10 items done. And now you're working on photographing. I don't know. Maybe you haven't. So I got 5. So I'm going to go do
I got 10. I got 10 up already.
All right, I got to go do my other 5 and maybe get a couple banked for tomorrow. And then I got to take more pictures tomorrow. So we'll see. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and also help Vikki with her list, which I don't think is too bad. I'm doing her laundry. I'm washing her drawers.
And before anybody asks, listen, she likes to do the laundry because I do not fold things the right way. She took over the laundry. This is not me saying do my laundry.
Oh no, I fold her laundry.
I
do the laundry completely.
She likes to do it.
She does it wrong. So the kitchen and the laundry room, they're my domain. So there you go. All right, Alexis, we'll check in with each other again later today. Make sure we get our shit done.
Everybody have a great week, and I will see you on the road or from the road.
All right. Bye.
Bye.